Get ready to quit the build.
Here we go!
The QTB crew is rounding up all the gaming news and hot topics of the week with a little extra something. And here are your hosts, Bruno, Brad, and Nick.
What it do? You're listening to the QTB podcast. I'm your host, Get to the Point Bruno, and with me are the boys of QTB, our co-hosts Nonsensical Nick and Devil's Advocate Brad.
That's true. We have had some major traction there on the TikToks, and I tell you, half of them are just people saying, "What are these people talking about? What's
even
is the
going
point
on?"
of this?"
Hey, you know, it's part of our magical formula, our recipe. It's who we are. And you know who we are today?
Who are we?
Today, it's that man right over here.
Center square.
In the middle.
Hey.
It's his birthday. So let's give a big shout out to Bruno.
Hey! Oh, wow.
Happy birthday, buddy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
I do
audience.
appreciate it.
So
Wow, what a welcome. And I got to tell you, it being my birthday and being old enough to play on the original Nintendo when it came out and, carry around a Game Boy and make the mistake of getting a Game Gear as a kid. But, the clout that it brought me was I'm still rolling on that today. Nick still likes to bring up that Game Gear, just awesomeness, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, we've talked many times about just the novelty of that. I think we both had the Game Gear, right? Which was like, it was not really a thing that most people had, and but we kind of shared that bond, and our parents
We
shared
shared AA batteries too, because it took
You had
6
to.
of them.
I mean, we were going to the local Radio Shack.
can we add that to the origin story of Quit the Build? It was due to Game Gear. Like, can we give Game Gear that much credit? Like,
Maybe.
childhood friends who bonded over the only people in the world who had a Game Gear.
We were those kids that they marketed to in the commercials, right? We had the connection cords to share Pokemon, because I had Pokemon Red and I think you had Pokemon Blue. And so together, like, we got all the starters because we were like, you know what? Throw in a new one and we'll just trade with the new thing. New save.
Rotate it. Mm-hmm. Give me that Meowth.
The kids now are getting all the they're like, what are they talking about? What is trading Pokemon even? Yeah,
Aw.
you could do that back in the day.
You
Now
can
you
do it
don't
over
have to worry
Wi-Fi
about
now.
it.
They didn't need a cord. They didn't need a literal cord. And then you saw
Right?
it move.
Yeah. Now you need a subscription service just to like store your Pokemon. That's a whole debacle.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a thing.
That's all
Can we-
Nintendo, right? I mean,
Wow.
that's the history of Nintendo, and that's exactly what we're talking about.
That's
Can-
exactly what we're talking about.
Can we
Solid
can we
segue.
throw some shade at Bill? Come on, Bill. You're charging now for your PC. What's going
Right.
on, man?
Bill? Bill Nye,
everybody needs help
scam
keeping the
artist
lights
guy.
on, even us. That's why we have a fantastic Patreon for all you people out there that want to help us keep the lights on, just like Bill. Be sure to check out patreon.com/quitthebill.
I tell you, Bruno, it's like a new game where like the goal is to plug Patreon earlier and earlier. We'll just do it before the show even starts, It's brought to you by our Patreon now, man.
Right, what really is, the Patreon is what keeps things going. You guys are keeping us on the air, so thank you so much. It's like
Absolutely.
NPR, right? We're just like, thank you for listening to Quit the Build. Your support helps listeners like you.
So that's not NPR. That's like
PBS,
CBS
World,
News.
that's like world
PB.
news or something.
You need the weird piano, right, for NPR?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The little jazz piano that's just like
That was it.
It's like,
Well, I'm glad you
all
mentioned,
things considered.
I'm glad you mentioned
could-
Nintendo.
we could riff off and tangent for hours, but I do think we've got a pretty full episode here to go over Nintendo
geez.
Direct, right?
Do we have to do video game news? Is that what this podcast is about? Yeah, okay.
Hey,
Let's dive into it.
I just saved myself from going off into a Ron Burgundy tangent, so let's go there before I go there.
That'd be another 5 minutes off the clock. So
Yeah.
let's get to it, guys. Absolutely. Appropriate soundboard, Bruno. And yeah, this is a big one because today we're talking about the Nintendo Direct that dropped last week. Of course, a lot of people have had a chance to get their takes in. We've been kind of marinating on it. And I've definitely watched it more than once just to kind of get my impressions because this is the beauty of Nintendo Directs, guys, before we go into the specifics. what I love about it is that in an era of people really announcing games 5 years before they release, in an era of games getting delayed indefinitely, Nintendo still has that magic, because when you step into a Nintendo Direct, generally speaking, what you're going to get is stuff that's shown to you that's going to be releasing before the end of the year, right? Sometimes in as little as a couple months, that maybe you didn't even, it's a new announcement. And so that's the hype behind a Nintendo Direct, is you're not just finding out about these new games. There's a good chance you're going to be playing these games very soon. And they definitely followed up on that. Just about everything I saw that was a new announcement or even existing, stuff shown for past announcements is stuff that's going to release by the end of 2022.
Well, did you catch that little disclaimer at the beginning, though, Nick?
Well, yeah. I mean, you gotta put it.
I think we're going to see more of those disclaimers in the future. What I'm talking about is there was a COVID-19 delay disclaimer at the beginning that basically said, hey, these times and dates are subject to change just in case something come up. You never know. Yeah. And I think that's a good expectation to set from here on out for all video games, because you never know when something might come up. You just have no clue of what tomorrow may bring and what challenges tomorrow holds. So it's important to take every release day with a grain of salt, unless, of course, it is out right that minute. You really can't, you got to say, well, tentatively speaking, it will be out.
True,
Absolutely.
but I'm with Nick here that I feel like I pride Nintendo Direct in being in at least trying to give folks an idea of what's coming soon, right? I'm getting tired of these teaser trailers of a game that's 5 years away, right?
Oh, yeah.
The attempt, or at least the ideology of this, is to say, hey, here's what's coming in 2, 3, 6 months, right? And you can really get some tangible excitement or planning around that. And I think that's a fair disclaimer to put forth, that this is their plan, for bearing any emergency or unique exceptions, right?
Yeah.
And I think that in itself is really cool, because I do think you can start to really analyze and say, wow, this is coming out next month or 2 months. And I think a lot of what we saw is it is this year. So I don't know why other Microsoft or Sony or even the game developers don't take this model, because I feel like it is something that is unique to Nintendo right now. So.
Yeah, well, they have more control, right? Because they are publishing most of the games that are being announced through a Nintendo Direct, right? They have the separate indie directs for smaller games, but this is the stuff that they're kind of curating and putting out, and that's the magic of the Nintendo ecosystem. Is it's like the Disney of this content, of just they've got it down, and they know their IPs, and they know what they know. So on that note,
to just reiterate, something we talked about last week really kind of hits home too, with that Japanese style mentality of as long as it takes, right? That might also age the fact of why Nintendo doesn't go ahead and release some of these marketing trailers sooner rather than later. They may not know, internally when the release date is going to be, because they don't want to harbor their developers with a time constraint. And I know a lot of people had a lot of things to say regarding that whole conversation we had last week. And you're right, there is room for taking your time with something, but I think the big sentiment that we learned from last week and this week is basically that marketing and the timing of your commercial is everything. That's the key, right? It's not about whether or not you plan on releasing it now or 5 years now. It's about tempering expectations and making sure your player base isn't hanging by a thread, and you're not giving out false promises for something. That's my problem with PlayStation, right? They're trying to sell PlayStation 5s on games that haven't been released yet and don't exist and may not exist. So that's a problem, obviously.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, let's dive right into it, because there's a lot to break down. This is a big direct, and I think one of the best directs we've had in a very long time from Nintendo, and that's saying something. They keep one-upping themselves.
Yeah.
The first big announcement we had here is for a new Fire Emblem game. It's going to be Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. Now, from the gameplay that they previewed, this is quickly showing itself to be another one of those Dynasty Warrior style games, which is, of course, the 1 versus 100, just fighting armies and hordes of people as this one overpowered character. This is not the first time that we've had a Nintendo IP that's gotten the Dynasty Warriors treatment. What they've been doing over at, I think I'm pronouncing this right, Koei Tecmo.
You mean Hyrule Warriors?
That's correct. You did it, Bruno.
I did it.
You guessed the thing.
Hyrule Warriors.
Nice.
When you mentioned that, I was thinking, yeah, I love that. That was actually my introduction into the Dynasty Warrior like ecosystem, right? You know, what was Hyrule Warriors, because that to me were characters that I knew. And so to have that Nintendo kind of pull from their own playbook and say, you know, here we go, like I'm down for it.
Definitely. It's great to see, and I'll tell you, I mean, the gameplay looks good. You're not going to see any kind of surprises that's like, oh, there's something unique or unusual happening here. The art style looks good. It looks like it's running in a very stable way, and you're getting that classic warrior-style gameplay, and that's a good point, Bruno. You know, a lot of these spin-off franchises, right? They are usually an entryway to that mainline game, right? Like, for example, I think Kingdom Hearts is a great example of this. It had Final Fantasy characters in it, and then we end up, you know, with a lot of people saying, oh, well, you know, Kingdom Hearts was my first Final Fantasy-esque game, and then they moved on to play Final Fantasy X and other games like that. So, yeah, I mean, it's great because you get, like you said, an entryway into this different series. And Dynasty Warriors, I'll tell you, there's a lot of content, a lot of games, a lot of history in that. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely one that's going to have to be checked out. So that game is coming out in June of 2022. And like I said, we're going to see that trend. But I mean, it looks good, right, Brad?
Oh yeah, no, I was just kind of reading up on it a little bit more, and I was seeing there it also says it's up to 2 players, so I feel like that they have a co-op option built into that too, right?
Yeah, they do, and a lot of Warriors games have that. Yeah.
So my only thing about those types of games with so much action is I feel like it's gonna look great on the TV. It's gonna look great even in, you know, like in the large screen mode. But I'm curious, like for you own a Switch, right? How do these games transition from being on the big screen to the handheld mode? Like, do you feel like the graphics and the impact of a fighting game like that is really going to have the same play value on the handheld versus it does playing it on like when you dock it?
It's tough to say because every game handles the processing power of the mobile, you know, the undocked version differently, right? And that's the thing, is that once you dock it, a lot of games get an upgrade in fidelity because now you have a potentially higher resolution screen, and you know, you can see more, and they know, okay, well, when it's handheld, you know, we don't need to have the draw distance out quite as much. Most games handle that pretty well, especially games that aren't ports of other games, because it's being made for the Switch exclusively. I think it'll be fine. I think that some of the games that really need to give you a sense of just the scope of what's happening, like Breath of the Wild or even Hyrule Warriors that did get released on the Switch as well with DLC, it's going to do fine. The Switch... People underestimate the Switch. Is it underpowered hardware compared to the market? Absolutely. You just have to develop for it. As long as you're making stuff and you know the limitations of the hardware, you're gonna be doing great. And we even have Morgan here chiming in that the main selling point that it's an alternate story from 3 houses, so anything could happen. And that was a relatively well-received Fire Emblem game that came out right alongside one of the DLC characters there for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So just one of the many things we got to jump into. So we're going to keep this train rolling. Advance Wars Reboot Camp. I'm going to tell you something, guys. I am really excited for this game. I'm probably going to be purchasing it day one. Nintendo's going to be hurting my wallet this year. I've been holding off on purchases, but I think this is where they're going to really start to strike. Advance Wars, so for those of you that may not have played it, this was a turn-based kind of strategy game, right? Yep. That was out on the Game Boy Advance. I think it even had some future releases on the Game Boy Advance, or the DS, Nintendo DS, rather. And I know because I played it. But these 2 games that are being covered in Advanced Wars Reboot Camp are Advanced Wars 1 and 2. And look, I'm going to tell you something, because I played the bejesus out of my Game Boy Advance, especially my Game Boy Advance SP, once I had the backlight and could easily play at night without having to use the snake light.
Oh, yeah.
And hide from my parents. Advance Wars is probably my number 1 most played Game Boy Advance game, Advance Wars 2 specifically. This is a fantastic game. It plays beautifully. It's an incredible amount of strategy for such a small screen that they had. And the franchise has been long dormant. We haven't had a new entry in this one in a very long time. And so to go back to basics and re-release those first 2 games, I'm really excited because when Wargroove came out, right, there was it was a similar style, right? This kind of modern retro game that they brought out that had very much a clone of Advance Wars kind of vibe to it. And I thought I would really get into it, but I just couldn't. It was trying to add too many extra mechanics and things that I'm just like, man, I miss Advanced Wars. So I am definitely going to be playing this. I can't wait. I'm definitely looking forward to the online multiplayer. That was one thing that was sorely lacking back in the day of link cables. But I mean, as far as strategy games goes, simple, clean, and a lot of fun. What did you think, Bruno?
I thought it was something that you would definitely see in a mobile version nowadays, and I'm surprised that they didn't take that route or explore that option, considering they've been dabbling more in mobile games like Mario Run and the Mario Kart mobile version game, right? It's that turn-based style has become so popular with mobile games that I feel like this is the perfect opportunity for people, for that entry into the mobile game, right? Like, I'm not sure why they didn't choose to do that, but it's exciting nonetheless because it looks awesome. It looks like with especially coupled with those new graphics and the anime style cartoon cutscenes.
Yeah,
man, that's just a leap and leaps and bounds from the old days where it was just like the static guy, right? Who didn't move and had no animation. It just harkens back to the days of Pokemon, where just like the thing would just lurch forward and not have any
tackle, move forward slightly.
Just move forward slightly. And it's like, whereas now they're actually showing emotion and, moving around. So, for a turn-based game where you're basically just back and forth shooting at each other, tons of different iterations of that on the mobile sphere. It's great to see a new element added to it that kind of just gives it a little bit of polish and newness to it, right, Brad?
I agree, and to your point about the mobile aspect of it, I feel like Nintendo has a mobile aspect. That's the point of the Switch, right? You can play it in your home, and then you can take it with you on the go, and you can. There is online and offline multiplayer, so I feel like they're presenting you options to play this with people wherever you have it. So I don't know if they needed to put it on mobile because the Switch in itself is mobile, right?
That's true.
Yeah, that's a good point, Brad. Advance Wars goes long. I remember, especially the campaign, or even some of the custom maps that you could go into. I mean, most of these matches could take a very long time. It takes time to play out, and for the tides of war to turn in one way versus the other, right? Especially in any turn-based game, you're going to be taking more time up. And I know that Nintendo's mobile experiences tend to be quick, right? That's the ideal mobile experience. It's something that you can do very rapidly in short spurts, and then that's, you get your DLC, and if you try to play it more than a normal amount, you're probably going to end up getting monetized. But Advance Wars may not run in that camp, especially when seeing that they have the online mode. That's kind of one of my concerns is, hopefully mechanisms exist to prevent someone from just stalling out and being toxic, because if I know I'm going to lose a match and you're giving me 60 seconds to take my turn, I'm probably going to take every second of that just to slow the game down and turn what should be a 20-minute ending into, 5 hours, right? That, it's like someone calling a clock in poker or chess. Like, you need, come on, let's get this moving.
It's the filibuster. It's the filibuster of gaming.
Filibusted. That's right.
Wait a minute. There we go.
Fantastic.
Nick's had his turn for the last 6 hours on the floor. He's now rambling. He's now on a Bruno tangent.
I'm not done reading this phone book. I'm only in the queues.
But no, I think that's a great point, right? Like, I'm trying to think to myself, like, why wouldn't, they take that leap into the mobile game arena and just kind of throw their hat in there with that as well? But you make a good point, Nick, about it not being fast enough. And I always think about mobile games being like a watered down version of what should be a full experience. And this is that, right? Like, that's what they're selling here. And from that in that respect, is basically a full experience of this turnstile based game that hit the mark from Nintendo's past and just just, resonated with people. I think that's exactly what Nintendo is known for. They thrive on that nostalgia factor. And so we're going to see more of that with the other games. But moving on, Nick, finally, I know everyone's been waiting for this one.
Yeah.
No Man's Sky.
Don't care. Moving on. Next.
Exactly.
Thank you.
This is something that,
Swipe right, right? What is that? No,
exactly. We don't need to get into this. I mean, if you haven't played No Man's Sky by now, you're probably not going to play it. I don't think that the Switch was the last, right? Like, I don't think it was the last thing holding someone back from playing it, being that it's out for PlayStation, PC, and Xbox, and has been for some time now. It's great to see that it's finally getting released on Nintendo. Something I thought I'd never really see, to be honest, though, just because it seems like a very graphically demanding game. And that's something that, Nintendo's not really known for.
It's going to be a janky port. It's going to be a terrible game. Don't buy it. Don't buy it. I got burned by Overwatch. I'll never make that mistake again. If it's a cross-platform game, here's the rule. If it's a cross-platform game and then like 2-3 years or plus down the road, they're like, it's coming out on Nintendo Switch, don't buy the game. Don't do it. You're going to have a bad time. You're welcome. I saved you money. Yeah.
Clip it.
So
you know what you want to spend your hard-earned money on, though? The next one on this list, man. Mario Strikers Battle.
Talk about this.
Thank you.
Oh, man. Can you talk about just this what they're introducing this strike kind of 5-on-5 soccer like sport where there's no rules and you can just wreak havoc. It's like Mario Kart meets soccer meets
Blitz. Remember Blitz?
Oh man, So I mean, I saw some of the trailers for this and the game, and it looks. I mean, this is the type of game title that makes me want to get a Switch. I'll be honest.
Same here.
Yeah.
This is the selling point for me. I've already been like dipping my toes and telling my wife like there's lots of cool games. Seeing something like this is like this is what the Switch was made for. This is what we're missing in Xbox land right now is something like this. I mean, I'm getting a little tired of Rocket League and everybody's just doing flippy spinnies in there and I can't keep up.
So sweaty.
I'm on the ground just waiting for it to come down.
I got it.
Maybe it'll be here.
I got it.
I don't know.
I'm coming.
I got it.
Oh, man. Mario Strikers Battle League. A lot of people before, and this happens on Twitter, everyone gives their wish list, right? Yeah. So many people were like, it's not going to happen, but Mario Strikers. It's not going to happen, but Mario Strikers. And I don't let your memes be dreams, guys, because you're getting Mario Strikers. And this is a game series, right? Not just in the Mario. Exactly. I did it. Slow motion.
You're my boy, Blue.
This game is anything but slow motion, I'll tell you that. But yeah, I mean, a lot of
memes be dreams.
Yeah, that's right.
Nick, I mean, are you going to start a QTB club? Are we going to have a QTB club on Mario on the Strikers?
I mean, if this is what brings you guys over to the Switch, we're going to have to.
Well, we can get some of our community. I think each club can have up to 20 Strikers together at one point. So
okay.
I'm saying we can have a Quit the Build club on
I smell
Mario
a Patreon
Strikers.
perk. Woo! That's right.
Oh, hey.
Oh, man. No, this is going to be great, guys. Like I was saying, so many people have been waiting for this. We've gotten new Mario Golf entries. We've gotten new Mario Tennis entries over the course of the Switch's lifespan. So this is one of the ones that was sorely lacking. And the original 2 Mario Strikers games for the GameCube and the Wii, they had great reviews. It's been a very consistent series so far, so it's no wonder that people were clamoring to get this new entry into it. And boy, it looks great. I'm loving especially the 8-player local matches. Not enough games take advantage of the fact that the Switch can connect 8 Joy-Cons. And so when you have a simple game like this where you can use the simplistic controls of just one Joy-Con, and the frenetic, this is going to be an instant party classic. This is going to be one of those games you want to just put up on a screen, put those Joy-Cons out there, and let the magic happen. Absolutely.
And it's bringing in some of the elements that we've seen successful in other games, the customization aspect, right? That you're going to be able to customize your characters, how they look, their stats. So you're kind of getting a little bit of that Fortnite, like, this is how my Mario looks and his skills, or this is how I'm dressing Peach for this match. Like, there's going to be ability to make it really feel like this is your striker, not just
Well,
like,
and
I'm
not
playing
only
as
that,
Peach.
Brad,
Right.
but there's also the different abilities, right? With the different cosmetics. So if you want to have, more speed or more strength or just be overall better at your accuracy with shooting, then that's something that you can customize to the character. And I think that's way more advanced than we've ever seen from a simple party game, right? Or I'm saying simple in quotes, right? from Nintendo, but this looks amazing. I'm excited for something like this.
So far, the winner of the day for me so far.
Oh yeah, 100. Well, I don't know about the full winner. We'll get into that later. We'll get our reviews. But as far as an opening act, this is something that to me screams like Nintendo Switch library for Bruno. That along with the golf game. I'm like, what do you want to play? You want to play Mario Golf? You want to play Mario Kart? You want to play Mario Soccer? We got it all.
Want to play Super Mario Twins? They look the same.
They do. They look so god dang like the same person. I said to one of them, you want ice cream cone? They both say yes.
How in the hell?
I don't know.
Okay, sorry. That is a very dated 90s reference. Group X, look it up.
It is. With that, segue, what's the next game on the list, Nick?
This is a good one. And so this is one we already had an announcement for. It was a very brief one at the end of one of the last Nintendo Directs, Splatoon 3. And this has been just a staple, really series, one of the newer IPs in the
love
in
the
Nintendo
opening
world.
Of that. I love the opening that's dropping in Warzone style. They're all in the helicopter and it opens up and like, here's the LZ, boys.
It's a completely different kind of feel to previous Splatoon games because, Splatoon is known for its super hyper colorful environments and different locales, but that even it's kind of like Sonic the Hedgehog, right? With like Green Hill or the Mushroom Kingdom for Mario, where not only the characters are colorful, but the environments you're in are very vibrant and iconic as well in the way that they're stylized. But Splatoon 3 is taking a noticeable shift in a different direction. That original reveal in the last Nintendo Direct showed the main character in like a desert setting and like a rundown like city, and it was just like nothing that we'd seen from any other Splatoon game. And now this is showing this new kind of wave defense co-op style gameplay on this very drab looking like oil tanker. And I mean,
it's the
this
rig.
game,
the rig from Modern Warfare. That's what that is.
It definitely is. And I gotta tell you,
you wanted it, and we brought it back. Not the way you thought, but it's on Splatoon 3.
It's a good point, Bruno. There was such a quick turnaround between the original and its sequel, but it's been 5 years since Splatoon 2 was released. So you got to wonder, was this strategic in waiting this long, or what? Why now? Why are we getting Splatoon 3 now?
I mean, we usually get one per generation, so I'm not surprised. It is kind of late in the lifespan of the Switch to finally get a title, but Nintendo, you never know when they're going to release stuff, right? Like we just got a Metroid game, and that's kind of been late in the life cycle. They don't always open a console generation with necessarily their biggest or most popular IPs. It just seems to be when it, like Bruno had said, when it gets done. I think that's the big moral of the story, especially in this era of development. But this looks like a lot of fun. I think the co-op gameplay is going to look fun. These enemies are wacky as heck, man. So the enemies in the storyline are called the Mammalians, and then in this one you have this salmon run co-op thing, like this wave defense. You have these like fish style enemies. I love the part where that giant like brick just drops out of the sky. It ends up being like a swing, one of those like riding like circular swings that go around. And the name of the boss is a fish stick.
Fish stick.
Okay, I guess. Japan, you crazy.
You're crazy. Who gave you that joke book?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you were to name really any of the games on the Switch that have an actual competitive and really, really fun pro scene, Splatoon is where it's at. Splatoon 2 has had a huge outpouring to this day. One of the few things you can hop on, get into a game right away, and even use their voice chat app and go on there and talk with people because you want to be able to communicate. Yeah. People love Splatoon, and it looks and plays great. I think this is going to be a slam dunk for them. If even people may have some differences with the new stylized choices, but the core gameplay is definitely there. It looks great.
Yeah, I think Splatoon is something that would entice more shooter connoisseurs like myself in general. I think the infrastructure, though, that Nintendo has put up with not being able to party up online in terms of having a consistent party that you can talk through, especially like Xbox and PlayStation have, right? Where you can talk to somebody regardless of what game you're in. That's something that really kind of, I don't know, aids to the like online playability when it comes to Nintendo. But I always think of Nintendo as like the couch co-op type scene instead of like playing online, because the infrastructure is so bad and there's no real convenient way to like talk with each other. And at this point, you got to think it's a conscious decision for them not to add in the party or the push to talk system or whatever it may be, because they're trying to protect the innocence of the console or whatever it may be. But jumping on Discord in between then is just, it just seems like a little bit of a disconnect, and it's not something that you really want to do in terms of gaming with your buddies.
True. But Bruno, I've been waiting for us to get to this next one because we got to get your take. Being the resident QTB racing game guru, can you not fill us in on what you thought of Disney Speedstorm?
Here's the thing, right? I think whenever you have these types of games, they always scratch that arcade itch. You've got something that is just going to be a blast to play with other people and compete with. And I think that having, some of your favorite Disney characters in there is a great sell. We're starting to see it with other aspects too, right? There's that Final Fantasy racing game coming out. We've also got some type of Nickelodeon racing game, I think, that's slated to release too. So add it to the list. It's gonna, it's very typical, but at the same time, if those are your characters, then this is gonna be the game for you, I think. Nick, right? I mean, what are we seeing here?
I think
groundbreaking, but
nothing No, it doesn't need to be, as long as it performs well. These Kart clones are a dime a dozen these days, and it's more about just enjoying a racing game within an IP that you already enjoy. And you're right, Final Fantasy's doing it. Nickelodeon's doing it. We've got, Sega has had a lot of success with multiple Sonic games and even like Sega franchise racers. Bringing in multiple franchises into one racing game. But absolutely, it was only a matter of time for them to do this. They've done just about everything else, and I think they've done racers in the past too. But this is a really clean and good-looking take. It's a free-to-play game. It's going to be a season-based, so you'll have the extra kind of content, probably a battle pass style thing happening there. My biggest concern, that this happens a lot with a lot of these licensed games or IPs that all get smashed together, like what happened with Nickelodeon, right? Where their most recent fighting game, it looks great, it plays great. You can see where it took inspiration from Smash, but the voice acting wasn't there at all. And the music really wasn't reminiscent of the shows that those characters came from. It was generic. And that ruins it for me. I need that music, right? And so with this game, if you're going to put me in iconic Disney tracks, and I'm already seeing, I saw like a Pirates of the Caribbean track, just to name one.
Yeah.
You need
Monsters,
to have that
Inc.
music.
Yep.
I need to hear he's a pirate when I'm in that Pirates of the Caribbean track. Otherwise, it's going to take me out of it and not make it feel like an authentic Disney experience. And that's going to be very important. One of the few things that I think Kingdom Hearts really got right was making sure when you're in those worlds, you heard the right kind of music. And sometimes you even got official tracks like Let It Go from Frozen. That I really want to see them go that route and really spend what needs to be spent in order to make this an authentic Disney game, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that's the concern too, right? With any of these games, you can tell who phoned it in, right? Who's just in it for the cash grab of well, we just want to produce something that we know is going to, turn some money over for us, and the Disney name will bring in people. But you're right, adding those iconic levels and characters, voice acting, all that kind of stuff is just icing on the cake that we need to really sell a great experience. And that's what separates, Mario Kart, right, from the lot of thousands of other games that come out that try to have that same feel, right? It's everything that's involved in it. And the same goes with the Smash style games we're seeing. You can tell who's phoning it in and who's really bringing their A game and who wants to create a legacy of something that, we'll say Disney Speedstorm 2 or Disney Speedstorm 3, right? Are you planning a sequel here, or is this, just something to bring in the Disney folks?
Well, but I gotta ask though. I mean, it could bring. It's another one of those that could bring me and my family in. So we all know who we are when we play a game like Mario Kart. But kind of getting a glimpse of the characters. If you were to pick this up, who would you want to be? Our listeners want to know, who do you resonate with most from what you can see on the cast on this game? I know who I'd be.
Well, you
Is
first.
Buzz Lightyear on there?
I think so.
Buzz? Oh, I saw Sully, man. I'm a Monsters Inc. fan.
Yeah.
I could see myself being Sully, but if Buzz is on there, then I kind of got to give it to Buzz Lightyear. But
That's my dude.
It's between Buzz and Sully for me. But it's Disney and Pixar, right? So there's got to be quite a few good characters to choose from.
I would assume that if you didn't have, somebody from Toy Story like Buzz Lightyear or even Woody, you're really missing out. That's really a missed opportunity. And I don't see why they wouldn't be able to license these characters. Maybe that's something we'll see down the road. With this free to play style, maybe they're going to release more characters, with a second battle pass or the second season, whatever it may be. Who's to say? They've got to do something to kind of bring in the the people if they're not going to play it when it's free, right? Halo, looking at you. You might have to do something, that's outside the playbook. Battle Royale. And then maybe you can bring in the Dr. Disrespects of the world. I would love to see the Doctor play Disney Speedstorm.
I thought you were going to suggest a Halo Kart racer. And by the way, I'm all in on that.
I'm up for a Halo Kart.
Is that another... Bruno
say, why not do this? Listen, why don't we just take all of Microsoft's IPs now and come up with our own Microsoft or Xbox racer where we've got, Halo in there. We can throw in Crash Bandicoot and Spyro because we own those too now. And then, all the people from Call of Duty over the years. So,
there you go.
all the Overwatch characters, we got them all.
Okay, so we've got a big one here. And I mean, this is one we already knew about, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. We did get a kind of a preview of a different mode, kind of a new gimmick, right? That's a very important thing with the Kirby games is you got to have those gimmicks that make it stand out from the other games. Even though it's already an open world kind of 3D game, that's already the gimmick really in the Kirby franchise. It's uncharted waters for the game. But, I mean, come on, man. Like, the mouthful mode that we saw, first of all, that reveal trailer was great. Because you see the Corgi pups, they're adorable enemies. I can't get over that. But then you have the car in the background, and Kirby's like, oh, you can tell he's gonna inhale it, right?
Car Kirby can't hurt you, but I've had some nightmares, Nick. I have had some nightmares about Car Kirby. But this is something that you really don't expect, right? Like we're getting into this territory where Nintendo is finally taking these risks. They're finally breaking out from the mold and saying, instead of giving you this traditional side-scrolling platformer that you've been used to all your life, we're going to let you loose in a 3D world Mario 64 style. And I think that that's what brings, people like myself and Brad over to the Switch camp and say, hey, there are some good games on here that I really want to try. It's not the typical thing because we're in 2022 now. I hate to bring this up, but we have done some things, since the inception of Kirby and given him his own little world to kind of go around and suck crap up with is exactly what we need in Nintendo.
And Bruno, it hits that point about it being a sit on your couch, play type of a game because they have now the local co-op option. You can pony up with your partner, Bandana Waddle Dee. I think I said that
Let's
right.
go.
Hopefully.
Waddle Dee? Yeah. Yep.
You know, and so now I could see my wife's gonna hit me up, be like, "Hey, let's get that Switch. We can play Kirby together." Like,
Yeah.
it's another title that, again, whether it's nostalgia, just I'm a huge Kirby fan. Like, this is another one that I want. I haven't played an open world concept yet with Kirby. It's been the 2D. You know, we saw in the opening, trailers, the old school Kirby game, right? Like this looks like it would be such a blast. Getting away from the sweat, getting away from the competition, just an opportunity to suck up some powers, explore a world, and have a blast.
I love that iconic hammer in there. Gotta love that. The iconic star hammer. I want to hear some classic songs in there too, Nick. I want to hear
Green Greens, you're gonna get it.
Yeah,
you always
I want to have that. I want that in the game at some portion, even if it's just menu music. Give it to me. I'll sit there and listen to that for hours.
Absolutely. They always find a way to get in Green Greens and the Gourmet Race theme because they're synonymous with Kirby. But yeah, I mean, look, we needed this for the Switch because the last Switch game, Kirby Star Allies, it was a flop. It wasn't a good game. I regretted that purchase and promptly got a trade-in with GameStop on it because it just was not worth my time. And this is exactly what we needed. And you're right, Brad. So many Switch games have that local co-op and unique co-op, especially Nintendo licensed games. They know what they're doing, man. I would be very surprised if this game was rated anything less than a 7 overall on Metacritic. So look for that very soon. And yeah, this mouthful mode is a very cool way to add new powers that are more transportation based, right? We saw the car, we saw even a glider that I think really shows the scope of the world that Kirby's going to be and that it's not just going to be some on-rails experience. There's a lot out there that you're going to be able to explore. I can't wait. And look, March 25th, this game is coming out. We got a little bit more than a month until it comes out, and I'll definitely be a day one player. Well, I'll tell you who our day one players are and beyond, and that is our Patreon supporters. Thank you so much. The segues sometimes. And they include Nick, Epic Capture Productions, The Dudist Monk, Indie Gamiacs, Alan Abadessa, Mr. Crow Games, The Intergalactic Pinecone, and Mad.Fat. Thank you all so much. And for $5 a month, you can get a shout out on each and every episode. Don't miss it. Just go to patreon.com/quitthebuild to support us today. Tiers start as low as $2 a month. Bruno is doing everything in his power to make me laugh right now.
Diabetes.
And in the name of professional, okay, you got me. The diabetes got me.
Emotional damage.
Play him out.
Man.
Oh, man. You'd love to see it. There we go. Well, guys, we might as well just keep this train rolling because part 2 of the show is just more of the Nintendo Direct. A little bit, I think, of a faster part. There are some bigger ones, some big announcements towards the end. I have to point out.
You got the usuals, though, there. The usuals. Like, we've got something like, just to kind of gloss over it. They're bringing in the ports. As Nick said, be wary of those. You got MLB The Show coming in. I'm not sure how you're going to compete with something as amazing as what we're going to be getting in here too soon with the Nintendo Switch Sports. But, it's something that we're...
But I have to say, of all the sports, baseball's the one where they've really... MLB The Show was the exclusive title, and it was only on PlayStation for several years, right?
Yep.
So it may be a rough play as it's going to be a port, but at least it gives Switch players an opportunity to experience what even what we just got on the Xbox, with Game Pass a year or so ago, right? So I do think there's an audience of sports fans like myself who own a Switch will appreciate at least getting the opportunity to test out the game and see how it plays.
The question is that something that the traditional Switch player would choose over something like Nintendo Switch Sports, which, I hate to keep bringing that up, but we haven't really gotten to that. But that was the big secret, right? That was there. And one more thing, as it were, for Nintendo presentations and having the Wii Sports finally resurge in the Nintendo Switch era is something that I think everyone has really been waiting for. And I think that's where Nintendo shines. And when I'm thinking about playing Nintendo Switch with somebody, I'm thinking about the just overall joy you get when you played, Wii Sports or any of the party games that you play that are a little less realistic. I feel like those tend to do the best on Nintendo Switch. And again, it's kind of like No Man's Sky. I sure there'll be some people that might pick up, MLB The Show if they only have a Switch, right? But I think for the most part, if you wanted to play that game, you've already played it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's a great point, though, that kind of to run counter to that Morgan from the Intergalactic Pinecone is bringing up here, saying this will do ridiculous numbers in Japan.
There you go.
So this is something to consider because, it is a Sony franchise, right? And of course, baseball is huge in Japan. And, the Xbox side of things, it is interesting that Xbox eventually got it. But I think that is probably part of PlayStation's rationale for wanting to make this a multi-platform game in the first place.
Yeah.
And I think that's a solid argument to be made of like,
Definitely.
Look, they like baseball.
Yep, 100%.
And there is going to be a certain amount of people. And look, the Switch, they don't normally get the mainline sports games, the Maddens,
That's true. Yeah. That's
so
true.
I think it'll be a good bellwether for whether or not the Switch in the future can support major more serious sports titles, right?
I think one thing to add on that too is maybe they're going to be able to. They've captured a license agreement with the Japanese baseball league to now add them to the game. Maybe that could be something they're going to do down the line, like to be able to have the Japanese
now
teams
batting the PepsiCo Coca-Cola Kodiak team.
But we're seeing that trend. Not to get off.
I'm going to do
a Bruno tangent.
No, if you ever see their baseball teams, though, they're always like sponsored by some big thing, and it's like, here come the Kodak Bears, and it's actual Kodak.
Yeah. It's a Kodak moment.
I think Intergalactic Pinecone has a fantastic point. We're seeing such a merger of Japanese talent come into the major leagues. I mean, the MVP last year was Shohei Ohtani from the Angels. He's the first notable two-way player since Babe Ruth. He pitches and hits. And you've got other folks like obviously Ichiro Suzuki, who has been a multiple Gold Glove winner, a mainstay in the major leagues, and has just since retired in the last couple of years. Suzuki, who played for the Yankees. There have been Tanaka, who's pitched for the Yankees and the Dodgers. There's been so many known talents that come from Japan now to major leagues that you're right. There's going to be a huge following for this game just to be able to play as the players here in the Major League Baseball. But I also see that potential that they could add a whole the Japanese teams from the Japanese league to the game, like they do in NBA 2K or in these other sports games where you can play as legacy old teams or the all-star teams. Why not add the Japanese league to that game? And now you've added a whole nother element that now is culturally and geographically relevant to those people in the East, in Japan.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think there's a lot of potential here for this to be a solid port. But what I think does not have potential to be a solid port, I don't think it even technically counts as a port, is the Kingdom Hearts Integrum Masterpiece. So when the Sora character was announced as the final DLC character for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, this was announced alongside it, right? That was the right timing. And a lot of people thought when they saw Sora, like, oh my God, the Kingdom Hearts games are coming to Switch. Well, you're technically right. And what we got was this Integrum Masterpiece. So what's happening is all the mainline Kingdom Hearts games and even some of the side ones as well that kind of fill in the story gaps to what has to be one of the most confusing storylines in the history of anything is coming out in the worst way possible. And look, I am, you guys know, I'm one of the biggest advocates for cloud gaming there's going to be for around here. And it's really sad to see what's happening with the Switch, because the Switch is absolutely meant for mobile gaming, but not in the sense of cloud gaming. The Wi-Fi infrastructure, whatever kind of hardware they're using, it's jank. Even when it's hardwired, it doesn't really seem to get good upload and download speeds. And now you're trying to...
that one meme, the crossplay is jank. The wireless system, it's jank.
It's all jank. Yeah,
the Joy-Cons, they're jank.
Yeah, we know they're jank. Yeah. But no, I mean, so for those that don't know, these games are being offered as a package deal but they're being offered as cloud only. Now, we've seen this with a couple other games that are coming, either will be coming out or have come out already on the Switch. For example, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, right? You can only do that through the cloud when you're playing on the Switch. And there's a good reason for that, from the sense of it's probably costing them a lot less to just do a cloud version, right? And have control over the server side, what's going on there, rather than actually take the time to take all these games and everything that goes into them. They're big games, and localize and port them for the Nintendo Switch. So they went the lazy route. I'm sorry, they did. And the result of it is it's awful. No one is saying good things about these games, especially when you're talking Kingdom Hearts. Let me tell you, especially on the harder difficulties, you need precision inputs when you're playing on critical mode, when you're trying to play these level 1 runs that they love to have where you don't gain any XP and you have to get through the end. And it's intense to watch, but you have to be able to have lightning fast inputs, and you can't have even a moment of, oh, your connection is unstable. You will die. It's going to happen. And for them to do it with Kingdom Hearts, it's lazy. It shouldn't be rewarded. From what I've heard, the sales numbers are already very good. So unfortunately, what's going to happen now is a lot of people, like we've been talking about, that are already de-incentivized to bring things to the Switch, they're just going to bring it out in cloud form, and nobody's going to have a good time. I'm sorry, but this is probably the low point of the entire presentation for me. I wish it never happened. How about that?
I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it.
That's right.
Heard that.
I let him have it.
Well, I don't think there's anything more to say about that. We're just going to move right along. Portal coming to the Nintendo Switch, an amazing game. What is there that hasn't already been said about Portal, especially, getting that couch co-op companion thing going on? I think Portal is one of the great games, the great puzzle games of our generation. And just a great port. If you haven't already played Portal, go out there and check it out. It's definitely worth picking up on every platform that you have, because I have never I've never not enjoyed that game. Grammars.
Is he right? Is he technically right? I don't know. It's the best kind of right. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one platformer that this shocked people, because in recent times, it's been popping up more as one of those cult classics that people have been asking, what the heck happened to that series? And that is Klonoa. So this is a platforming series that came out on the PS1 and PS2, and the games were absolute critical darlings. Klonoa 2 had 90+ ratings across the board on all major publications when it came out on the PS2. The original and the Wii remake that came out later, also great reviews. And hey, another Bandai Namco game that, like I was saying in the last episode, they don't get credit for. Like, it's one of their there's huge stable of IPs that they absolutely could establish a metaverse, because people love Klonoa. It's one of the platformers, as someone that just loves platformers and loves just taking in every kind of platformer I can get my hands on, this is one of the few I haven't played. And I know some people that are kind of a part of the QTB family that are big fans of Klonoa, and so it's just good to see. It's great to have those games get a second chance in the light, to really have new generations come and fall in love with these games all over again. So if you are a fan of that series, or maybe you're looking for something new, that comes out July 8th. Now, Bruno, you dropped a bomb there with one of their big announcements, which is the Nintendo Switch Sports.
That's the one. I got news for everyone.
Here it comes.
Yeah, that's right. We're talking about Nintendo Switch Sports. This is the one that I think we all wanted to see. Now, I will say I do have a gripe. Have a gripe with Nintendo Wii Sports, and that's it holds the title for best-selling or most sold game of all time, I believe. And if I'm not mistaken, you can fact check me on that. But that's also because it was bundled with the initial Wii. And so you have to wonder, when a game is bundled with something, is it going to be good, or is it worth the title of best or most selling game of all time? And the answer is yes, gentlemen, it is. Okay, I would buy Wii Sports over again for every console if they had it. It is amazing. And to see something like this come out for the Switch, it's exactly what I've been waiting for, right? This will get me in the door 100%. Because if I could go back and get a Nintendo Wii, that's honestly the only game I'd really care to get for it would be Wii Sports, the thing that came with it. And so I'm ready for it. Brad, I know you're ready for it too. Me and you are going to be competing online, playing some bowling, sitting there from the couch. Like, you're supposed to get up. It's supposed to be exercise. You're exercise.
Tell me what to do.
I'm prepared to go back to work and tell everyone I got tennis elbow, and they'll be like, "Oh, you play tennis?" I'll be like, I play I play Switch tennis.
Yeah, that's right. Oh man, yeah, it's happening.
It is, and I'm with Bruno. This is one of the 3 games that I saw at a Direct that I'm like, crap, I gotta find a Switch. Like, I gotta get one soon. Like, because it really, the nostalgia for I played the crap out of Wii Sports. I tried to set all the records. I remember there was like not just the game, but like the bowling one where you get like 1,000 pins.
Oh,
yeah,
loved it.
And you'd have to like try to knock them all down, and you could try to set a record. Like, all those challenges that were built into the subcontext of each of the sports was brilliant. And golfing, like, hey, I can golf now. I can go and play a 9-hole course, and I don't have to leave my house. Like, so many, it takes all the crappy things out of the sports that I didn't want to play, and I can play them at home.
Exactly. And did you see they're trying to bring that into Nintendo Switch Sports with that like 100v survival last person standing. I don't know how many people are participating in it. Maybe just a handful, like 10 or something like that. But either way, last person standing kind of bowling battle royale, something I never thought I'd say in 2022 or ever, but we're going to get it via Nintendo Switch Sports. I'm ready for it. Let's do it.
Get some dubs. Where are we dropping?
Nick, I mean, is this another day one play for you?
It might be. I definitely have the nostalgia for Wii Sports. I'm going to wait for reviews on this one just because, I found the motion controls for Switch games to be fair to middling for a lot of experiences. And I saw a couple things on there that I'm like, really? Like where they let you take the Wii, or rather the Ring Fit Challenge ring and put it around your leg for like soccer, and everyone's saying like that never stays on. You're gonna that's gonna get yeeted out the window very quickly. But no, I love the idea behind it. And you're right, Bruno. The Wii Sports by the end of 2021, the sales figures, it sold 82.9 million copies worldwide. Just an absolute juggernaut of a game. And I think senior centers around the world are rejoicing that they can finally retire their worn down Wiis and move on up to the Nintendo Switch for bowling and a whole lot more. I did like seeing a lot of new games, new sports getting added in there. I like the clubhouse style, the cool kind of like it almost felt like a indoor public park of sorts.
Oh,
yeah. I like the vibes. Hoping the online play is worthwhile, but it is going to be one where I wait to see what is the critical reception to this because, to say you're the successor to Wii Sports, that's a big deal. We did have Wii Sports Resort for the Wii U.
I was going to say, we did have that.
Which I remember hearing decent things about. I think it was more that the Wii U itself just didn't get a lot of traction, and that's why people don't talk about it. But this people are definitely going to be talking about. So look for that very soon, April of this year. We'll find out.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. It's something that I hope they end up coming out with a bundle. I'm ready for a bundle with that because that would be a great sell in my book to just have an all-in-one bundle where you already have that and maybe some accessories in there, like the band or whatever that you need to go ahead and do the needful, as they say.
Yeah, I don't want to throw a wrench into our review of Nintendo Direct, but we're talking about, you just mentioned a bundle for the Switch Sports, and we've been covering all these games. It begs the question, and there's been very little comment even with Nintendo Direct. Are we getting a Switch Pro? Are we getting a Switch 2? I feel like the fact that they're doing this Nintendo Direct with all of these games indicates to me they're committed to this generation of console and that they may skip the Pro and be working on the next gen, for another 3 to 5 years away? Like, are we seeing out of this direct that this is a commitment to the existing Nintendo Switch for this foreseeable short term?
Well, we know that it's going to be around for a while. Nintendo stated directly that it's more in the middle of the lifespan of the Switch rather than the end. So I think they're looking at quite a ways out. I think the Switch will probably coexist with the current gen consoles for the Xbox and PlayStation for some time, especially since the chip shortage is making it so that you're really de-incentivized to try and release a new console generation, right? If that chip shortage had happened 6 months before it did, right, because of the pandemic, I think a lot of the Xbox and Sony would have reconsidered when and how they were going to be launching next gen, right? The timing was bad. So I think Nintendo will be the indicator of what future gens are going to look like, while electronics are harder to get a hold of. And that's exactly where we're at with that. But we need the bundles though.
I'm waiting on that bundle. Then I'm with Bruno. I'm either buying a Kirby bundle or a Switch Sports bundle. I think I'm getting a Switch to my list this year. It's gonna happen.
Oh,
Walmart's already got you. I promise. You can probably go get it right now. Pre-order.
Speaking of which, I actually saw a Switch in the wild the other day at Best Buy where you could get it. Like, it was just sitting right there. I was like,
okay, Steve Irwin. I saw one in the wild.
Crikey, we found a rare Nintendo Switch in the wild.
There he is. Don't move. He's going to wrestle him. It's like that ESPN commercial.
He's already caged. He's already caged. He can't get to us.
We have to wait for the electronics attendant to open the case. Oh, that's like everything in Walmart now.
Steven.
He appears to be nonplussed at having to respond to this. Oh,
he said,
man.
I'll be right with you, mate. Just give me 1 second. I'm with a customer.
It's going to be a half hour. I'm going to tell you right now.
I don't know why we
I don't know. Hey, how about that Cuphead DLC? Which, by the way, I'm going to tell you, it took me a while to realize this, as long as we've been waiting for it. The DLC, the name of the DLC is Delicious Last Course DLC.
What?
So clever. Thank you. I knew he had something. I was waiting.
Yeah, we did. That was awesome.
I'm glad we finally got a date on this. I've been waiting for this for a very long time. I loved Cuphead. I still love Cuphead, but I need more of it. And that hand-drawn style, of course, it's taken them forever, and it should. June 30th is the release date, and I'm going to be there probably on Xbox. But I am, Cuphead is one of those just once in a lifetime style games that just the right combination of retro and art style and just daring to do something that hasn't been done before and executing on it with no playbook, right? And no one else has tried that wacky, almost horrific style of old cartoons. And boy, Cuphead has it in spades. And the DLC, it looks like we're getting a lot of extra content, extra character. I'm in. What else can be said, right?
I mean, I'm probably not going to be able to beat it. Because, I'm not as good at the platformers as Nick over here. I've got other special skill sets. I've got a special set of skills.
I was going to say, are we doing a Liam Neeson?
None of them surround platformers, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Well, it just so happens you'll be playing Cuphead for your daughter. It's not
I will
gonna
buy
work.
it. I will download it, but I will probably fail.
How much is the DLC?
That's right. Oh, guys. Well, here, for me, this was the big announcement. I will say, as an honorable mention, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 was kind of their one more thing. I really haven't played the Xenoblade games. I'm pretty sure you guys haven't either, so I don't think any of us can speak to it. I know it's a beloved series. I played Shulk a couple times in Smash Brothers, didn't much care for him. Pretty cool swimsuit outfit. He's really feeling it. He says that a lot. I don't know what that means, but apparently it's a meme. The third entry is coming out. Go get you some. That good?
6.
Yes. Okay. And speaking of sex, how about that Mario Kart? I'm going to tell you what, guys. Now, this has been interesting.
Is this what we expected, though?
It's not. And the public discourse has been very interesting with people get kind of a divisive takes on it. And so, for the longest time, we've been talking about Mario Kart 9, right? There have been leaked stories that it's in active development, probably still is. Even here on the show, we've been talking about speculation about what Mario Kart 9 could be, what the gimmicks could be that would be unique and add on to the existing Mario Kart formula.
I'm going to let you know now, Nick, if they really want to throw us for the loop, they should just skip over 9 and go straight to 10.
Yes.
Straight to 10. Mario Kart 10. And everybody was like,
No.
What happened to Mario Kart 9? Well, that was kind of what you already got. It's Mario Kart 10.
Yeah.
Wow.
They need to take a page out of Apple's book. It's got to be called the Mario Kart X.
I'm going to throw, okay, I think you just came up with a genius idea, Bruno, because think of like any major motion picture, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, it's Lethal Weapon, and then it's a smash hit, and you're like, coming soon, Lethal Weapon 3. And do not answer questions about what happened to Lethal Weapon 2.
Nope.
It never had.
Never
We don't talk
happened.
about it.
We don't talk about it. Just skip right over and go to 3. Why? Because it was that powerful. It was that powerful. Mario Kart's going to be that awesome that we don't need 9. 9 won't do it justice.
Straight to 10.
Yep, straight to 10.
Right.
That's when you know you got a banger.
Yeah.
That's when you know you've hit a home run and all things. You got the money. Here we go. Straight to 10.
Right,
Yeah.
Nick. Right, Nick. So it's 48 courses, I believe, right, in total, and it's going to cost $25. So what is your take on the amount of content versus the price, and it not being, say, Mario Kart 9, but a kind of this booster course pass that you can buy?
I would have paid $100 for 48 courses. Does that answer your question? Because holy freaking crap, this is a lot. So just to put this in perspective, there's less than 48 courses, I believe, in the existing Mario Kart 8, and that's with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and the extra courses and DLC that they added on from the original Mario Kart 8 for the Wii U release. Listen, my take on this, and this is why I was nervous about Mario Kart 9 if it was going to be released. Mario Kart 8 is Mario Kart perfection. That's my take. I know there are some people that will point to previous Mario Kart entries, 7 and earlier, as being the perfect Mario Kart experience. But Mario Kart 8 for me is such a great balance of gameplay. It runs so smooth. The courses are fantastic. The music is fantastic. It is the perfect Mario Kart experience, one of the few online games on the on the Switch that just feels like it plays fantastic. I don't know what kind of voodoo they're running in the background, as janky as their online infrastructure is, but it as Todd Howard would say, it just works. I don't know. So
I mean, what more do you need in that type of glowing review? And that's exactly why they'd have to skip over 9, Nick, and go to 10. You've pretty much set me up, because that's where I'm going with this. Okay?
Yeah.
You've paved the way, you've painted the picture for everyone, and that is Mario Kart 10. Just skip right over it and go to 10. This is something that I definitely want to see from the Mario Kart on the real, though, because as somebody who didn't pick up, obviously, the deluxe and, the DLC, this is something that I want, right? I want to be able to kind of have something that's all encompassing and be able to just one and done it, right? So that to me is a sell. They're just making it easier and easier for people who haven't jumped on the Switch train yet to just go ahead and come back to it. And I got news for you. I've said it in the past and I'll say it again. Nintendo Switch is here to stay in terms of like being a top sold console. I think they will continue to sell out and continue to be hard to find. Like, it's still going to be a rarity to find them out in the wild. And you're going to be like, wow, I didn't, the Switch lights everywhere. Everybody's got one. But the Switch, I mean, they just keep giving us a reason to buy it and giving people who haven't already jumped on. Like, I mean, the list grows on the games that I want, right? Not only so many from this, but we're talking about so many from previous generations. Like, I want to try out Pokemon Arceus. I want to try out Mario Odyssey. I want to see Breath of the Wild on the Switch. I had it on the Wii U. I was one of those kids,
Yeah.
So I think this is something that is just making an easier case for everyone to go ahead and say, yep, I'll take one. Go ahead and write that for the Christmas list this year, especially if it's hard to get an Xbox or PlayStation.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can wait till Christmas though, Bruno. I feel like it's going to happen sooner, dude. I feel like it's going to happen
That's what I'm saying. This Direct is just so much stuff that's happening now. Like it's coming in the coming. It's going to be a great summer for Nintendo, I think. And you're right. Like, you guys are feeling the pressure now. It's like I really got to get on this train. And look, I mean, like I said, $25 for these courses. This is the thing that Mario Kart 8 has been lacking. Is when they came out with the Deluxe, they didn't add a whole lot on afterwards, and so we've been waiting for those new courses. To add 48 courses, and then they're returning courses as well from past games. And we already know that one of the top, I think, Mario Kart Wii tracks, Coconut Mall, which if you haven't heard the soundtrack for that, it's something else. I mean, it's right up there with the Wii Shop and all the greats, Rainbow Road, you name it. That they are going to go back and just pull from the greatest Mario Kart tracks of all time, including their mobile game Mario Kart Tour that got some original tracks, and bring them in too. And you're going to get this as a steady trickle release now through the end of 2023 with the first round of courses dropping in March. And if you're on the Switch Online Plus expansion pack, you're going to get this $25 DLC for free, which, by the way, guys, when you join, I got 2 spots on the family plan reserved for you, boys. $10 a year gets you everything. All that in a bag of chips.
That's what we want. That's what we want right there. Yeah. That's what we need. The family plan, the QTB family. Well, I got news for you. If you want to be part of our QTB family, then you need to head on over to our website. What a segue. I got to tell you, it deserves its own sound for that, because our website, quitthebuild.com, has everything you need. We've got a network page where you can check out other podcasts that are awesome, including the Gotta Watch podcast for all your TV and movie needs, the 1 Hour One Decision podcast, which is going to help you out in terms of what to play on Game Pass. And if you're a wrestling fan, we got you covered with Double DQ. And we have influencers like Kung Fu Penguin streaming and music from Beat It. So, man, we just got an awesome community over there. Hey, tell them about how to join that community, Brad.
You can go to our website, quitthebuild.com, and sign up for our, join our community there and let us know you want to be a part of our family. I think we've got a newsletter on Twitch that keeps us up to date week to week on what's happening with our community, with our podcast, some feature spotlights. I mean, we're everywhere. We're everywhere on social media, right? Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I mean, whatever social you got, we are there, and you should be following us. So go hit that like button, hit that subscribe button on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, follow us on TikTok, watch our videos, watch our boy Nick over here break the internet with his hot takes and our quick videos.
And my Ben Shapiro voice.
Yeah,
I tell you,
they come for. That's what they stay for on there. If we don't go through a clip where someone says, "Hey, is that Ben Shapiro's sexy younger brother?" giving us the video game news, and I got news for you. It is him. I don't have a sexy song to play. I don't think so.
You little nasty.
Nope, sorry.
We'll take it. On that note, get us out of here, Bruno.
Bruh.
Well, for Nick and Brad, I'm Bruno.
For Bruno and Brad, I am Nick.
And for Bruno and Nick, I'm Brad.
Peace out. What it do?
Shh.